All right, class. So today we will be looking at the eye and the ear. And I'll just talk about the different structures that we see on the model. So that will help you ID the structures better or faster, I would say. If you look at the schedule, we have eye and ear on separate days. So essentially today we are going over eye, and then next Monday we are supposed to go over ear, but they are short, so we don't study a lot of structures on the eye or the ear. So I'm kind of doing it together, and this will also help you have more time to prepare these two structures, eye and ear. Okay, so if you look at this model, we do see the eyeball in the orbit, and then obviously we do see the extrinsic eye muscles, which you have already done in the muscle unit. So what other structures do we see? Well, the outermost layer is the white of the eye, and the white of the eye is called the sclera. Anteriorly, you see a transparent plastic shiny layer. I'm not talking about the pink or the black. I'm just talking about the plastic shiny layer. That's the cornea. Cornea and sclera together, they make the fibrous tunic. Together, they make the fibrous tunic. Okay. Looking at a different model. If you look here, again we see an eyeball in the orbit. But here, this would be the sclera. The plastic thing is the cornea. Now listen, do you see the gray area? The gray area, that's the colored part of the eye. Mine is black. For some of you, it's hazel, brown, blue, different colors, green. The gray part is the iris. That's the colored part of the eye. And then at the center, do you see the black hole? That's the pupil. That's through where light enters the eye. So this one, in this picture, we actually removed the top white layer. So half of it we removed. So do you see this is a white layer? This is called sclera. We also see the plastic cornea. Cornea is actually not plastic, but in the model it's this white plastic thing. This layer right here is the choroid. Remember, choroid is highly vascular. That's why you see all the blood vessels. What other things do we see here? You see the optic nerve here. Looking at this model, this is a slightly different model, and we have removed the top white half, but you do see part of the white here. So this is the sclera. Do you see the red layer right below the white? This red layer is the choroid. The red layer comes anteriorly, and let me try a different color. The red layer comes anteriorly and forms this structure. This is called the ciliary body. And the ciliary body actually extends anteriorly like this, and this part would be called the iris. Few other things that we see here. Do you see the posterior big plastic thing? So this big plastic thing is the posterior cavity. And then this part right here is the anterior cavity. If you listen to my lecture, you know what is anterior cavity and what is posterior cavity. I want you to remember that the posterior cavity is filled with vitreous humor, and the anterior cavity is filled with aqueous humor. We also see the optic nerve here. Okay, and the point where the optic nerve originates is the optic disc. I'm not 100% sure if optic disc is on your hit list. If not, Just ignore optic disc, but you do need to know this for lecture anyway. This is another eyeball structure. So we see all three layers here. So this would be the sclera in white. The red layer is the choroid. And the inner white layer is the retina. That's the retina. This little thing is the lens. We also see the well, these three are good from this model. This is a nice one and I love this model. In this model you see few things. You see the purple dot here? That's called Fovea Centralis or fovea. This part is the optic disc. Again, please check whether optic disc is on your hit list. Optic nerve. This inner layer is the retina. You also see the red choroid. You see the white sclera. You see the cornea. What else do you see? You see the ciliary body. You also see the iris. This part and this part. Do you see these parts? These are the iris. And this opening here is the pupil. I think that's all you see on this model. Moving on to the ear. So looking at the ear, sorry about that. Looking at the ear, this is the pinna. This is the external acoustic meatus or external auditory canal, is the same thing. Then do you see this thingy? This is the tympanic membrane. This tube, it connects the middle ear to the pharynx, and this is called the eustachian tube. It helps to equalize pressure in the middle ear with the outer atmospheric air. This is the middle ear, which has 3 bones. So it's hard to see the bones here, but I'll show you on a different picture. Or let's try this one right here. This bone is called malleus. I'll use different colors. Do you see this bone here that I'm drawing in green? This is the incus. And then there is another bone right here. Do you see this bone? This is the stapes. So we have malleus, incus, and stapes here. Looking at the inner ear, so this structure lies in the inner ear and it has few parts. The snail-like structure is the cochlea. Then this part, do you see this part? This is the vestibule. And then these, let me do it in different. And these structures, do you see these? These are called semicircular canals. And I think that's it from this model. Let me look into a zoomed in picture of the inner ear. So this is the inner ear, and there are a few structures that you will be asked to identify. First, the snail-like structure is the cochlea. Then this middle part is the vestibule, and these are the semicircular canals. This bone that sits here is the stapes, and remember, stapes sits on a window, so this line represents a window. This is called the oval window. I think that's it about the, and the yellow part, this part is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Again, check your hit list. This is cranial nerve number 8. Check your hit list if this is included in the ear. Alright, so that concludes my mini video on the eye and the ear. Hopefully you will find this helpful, and this will help you identify the different structures on the model pictures. And yeah, just put, if you cannot identify something, please put it on the discussion board or just ask me via email. Thank you.